All right, welcome everyone. As we are getting started, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box. I'm really excited to see so many of you. I'm trying to find the participants. All right, we have about 25. So we're just going to wait a few minutes for participants to come in. We are expecting a good amount of participants today. So I'm just going to leave some room for people to join us. And as you're joining us, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box. Tell us your name and where you're zooming in from today. Let's see. Yes, so chat box, please feel free to introduce yourself. Also, for the audience members, I would like to remind you all, if you do have a question during the session, I highly encourage you to use the Q&A button at the top of your Zoom screen. So this will kind of allow us to keep track of all your questions and to make sure that we answer all of your questions at the end of today's session. So I see a few more people have joined us today. So if you didn't hear me at first, again, please feel free to introduce yourself. Tell us where you zooming in from today. We want to get to know you. I want to see who's in the audience today. And I'm very excited to get started for today's info session on our introduction to the MPH program. So we're just going to wait until it's 12 p.m. and then we're going to get started with the session.
And I noticed that chat box was now disabled, but I just opened it up. So feel free to use it and let us know if you have any issues.
Thanks, Zizi. I did not realize that it was disabled. All right, I'm just gonna, again, leave some room for people to join us and to introduce themselves in the chat. We have a few more minutes before we get officially started with the introduction to the MPH program. All right, I see people are introducing themselves. Welcome, Isaac, sorry if I'm pronouncing everyone's names wrong, Samuel, Faith, Ria, Addie, welcome everyone. Thank you for introducing yourself. Foy, Manzi, Najeri, Justina, Alex, welcome everyone. Thanks so much for introducing yourselves. And I apologize if I'm pronouncing anyone's name wrong. Hi, Abby.
It's so excited to see friends from all over the world to join us, join our info session today. We do recognize that you might be there like really late and cannot be participating in the full section. So our info section today will be recorded and then we will definitely post them on our Brown School YouTube channel. So feel free to connect with us or check our webpage if you cannot be here for the full section. And welcome everyone again.
All right, we have a couple more minutes left, and then we are going to get started with the info session right at 12. So if you're just now joining us, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box. We want to see who is with us today in the Zoom. All right, we have one more minute, so we're about to get started. Hi, Hiram from St. Louis. All right. It looks like the majority of our participants are here today, so we are hoping to get started soon. Hi, Lillian from Kansas City. Welcome. All right, so it is now 12 p.m. So we're officially going to start our introduction to the MPH program. If you're just now joining us, welcome. Please feel free again to introduce yourself in the chat box. Tell us where you're zooming in from today. Also, as a reminder to the audience, if you have any questions throughout our session, please use the Q&A button at the top or bottom of your Zoom screen. This will allow us to keep track of your questions and to make sure that we answer them by the end of today's session. All right, so I would like to first introduce myself. My name is Makia El-Ghamdi. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the admissions and recruitment specialist here at the Brown School. And then I'm going to have my colleague Zizi introduce herself.
Thanks, Makia. Hello, everyone. Welcome again. So good to see you all here virtually. I'm Zizi Shili. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm currently the manager of global programs at the Brown School. I'm also the co-host of today's session that will be covering an overview of Master of Public Health program. So as we get started with this info section today, I would like to have a really quick overview of our mission and vision at the Brown School. Next slide, please, Makia. Thanks, Makia. So one thing you will notice about the Brown School, whether you are looking at a presentation now, or you are browsing our webpage, or you just simply talking to our faculty, staff, and our students, is that we are dedicated to equity and committed to impact. So these are the values that you will hear often when we talk about our school, but what does that mean? Simply, our faculty and staff members are committed to translating the research we do into actionable solutions and bring these solutions into our communities where they are most needed. We want the meaningful changes that will positively impact our community. Now, as the audience members, you may be wondering how you can be part of this impact. Luckily for you, the Brown School has the programs in place that can help you to be part of an amazing community while accomplishing your own goals. Master of Public Health program is one of them. Next slide. Currently, we have social work, public health, and social policy programs at the Brown School. We believe that the fields of social work, public health, and social policy are intrinsically linked and complementary fields with shared values and objectives. This quote from our Dean Dorian Traub highlights a universal theme that Brown School faculty, staff, and students try to achieve, making the extraordinary possible. Next slide, please. While we will be going into more details about these numbers at the Brown School as we move through today, here is our final 2023 cohort numbers, which includes all the new Brown School doctorate and master students. We are really proud of our student body and all of the different experiences and backgrounds they represent. We are constantly evaluating our admission and enrollment process to make sure the Brown School is as representative and accessible as possible. And now I'm going to pass this on to Makia to talk about MPH program highlights.
Thanks, Zizi. All right, everyone. So let's talk about the MPH program. So this is our Master of Public Health program at the Brown School. It is a 2-year in-person program. It consisting of 52 credit hours. We also offer 6 specializations to choose from, in which all of them are STEM certified. The Master of Public Health program is also an accredited program, but we are currently in the process of transitioning to a School of Public Health. And we have plans on submitting an application to become a School of Public Health in June of 2024. After the application approval and the accreditation site visit, we have every expectation that the MPH program and the MPH students will be graduating in 2026 or later, and you will be graduating with an accredited School of Public Health. While we don't anticipate any changes to this plan, changes could happen, but we will remain an accredited program regardless of any unanticipated changes. So let's talk more about the curriculum. So our curriculum has been designed to be different. So we do have an evidence-based approach to practice. This means that our curriculum is uses practice and interventions that are driven and informed by research. Our curriculum is also grounded in driving social, racial, economic, environmental, and health equity. This also reflects the Brown School's strategic plan, which is called the Driving Equity 2030. Students also learn through an anti-oppressive framework, meaning that we focus on advancing the voices and needs of marginalized communities. We also have a transdisciplinary problem-solving approach. This means that students learn to examine issues and approach problems from a multifaceted, interdisciplinary perspective. The emphasis on transdisciplinary problem solving also equips students to identify the numerous factors that affect public health and strategically work across disciplines to create sustainable and comprehensive solutions. And last but not least, our program and curriculum is designed to be flexible. So now I want to talk more about the overall MPH curriculum. So in general, the two-year program will provide you with a solid understanding of the fundamentals needed to make a great impact in the field of public health. So while providing you with opportunities for building analytical leadership and team building skills. So the program, as I mentioned, is 2 years. So what you can expect from your first year is these courses listed on our page. So the first course that you'll be taking will consist of about 15 credits of a foundations of public health. And then you'll have 6 credits dedicated to your research methods. And then you'll have about 3 credits dedicated to electives. And then in year 2, you'll have about 6 credits of transdisciplinary problem-solving courses, 3 credits of research methods, and then about 8 to 9 flexible credits of electives. And then in between year 1 and year 2, MPH students do complete their practicum, typically during the summer between the first year and second year. And to talk more about year 1 and year 2, in addition to the courses I mentioned, in year 1, you'll also be taking a public health seminar, and then you're also going to be taking a cross-cutting themes in public health. And then in year 2, which is also your final year in the public health program, you'll be taking your MPH capstone. So this is actually a learning experience that synthesizes foundational and specialized public health competencies. And then you'll have your skill labs, which is a series of 1-credit labs offered on a variety of topics. The labs really allow you to have an opportunity to dive deeply into specific topics, such as statistical analysis, data management, visualization, and team leadership. So these skill labs are a great way to equip you with knowledge that is high in demand and within the profession, as well as advance your capacity for research. And so I kind of now want to talk more about the MPH specializations. So as I mentioned earlier, we have 6 different specializations to choose from. Again, all of them are STEM certified. So our first specialization is our epidemiology and biostatistics specialization. This specialization allows students to be equipped to understand and practice the design, analysis, and interpretation of public health studies. Global health allows students to confront complex issues primarily impacting resource-poor populations around the world. The health policy analysis specialization prepares students to research, analyze, implement public health policies at a local, state, and federal level. The mental and behavioral health specializations equip students to promote mental and behavioral health through a transdisciplinary lens that also allows you to protect and improve mental health and the well-being of individuals, as well as communities and societies using public health strategies. And then the last 2 specializations are our urban design and generalists. The urban design specialization brings a transdisciplinary thinking to the multifaceted public health challenges across urban and built environments. And our last specialization is our generalist. The generalist allows students to draw from a range of specialization competencies. So you can dedicate your coursework to issues that are pertinent to your research and professional interests. And then on the right side of our screen, you see we have optional certificates. So if you would like, you have the option to pursue a artificial intelligence and big data analytics for public health, as well as our violence and injury prevention certificate. And then as a Brown School student, you have the option to pursue dual degree programs. So within the Brown School, you can become a dual MPH MSW student or a dual MPH and MSP student. We also have dual programs in partnership with our schools across the Washington University. So if you would like, you can pursue the MPH in Architecture dual degree program, or MPH in Business, MPH in Law, MPH in Occupational Therapy, MPH in Anthropology, MPH in Medicine, and then Social Policy and Law. And now I'm going to pass it on to Zizi to talk more about field education and practicum.
Thanks, Makia. So field education or practicum, this is how we call at the Brown School. So this is a part of all Brown School programs and important part of connecting your classroom learning to the field, developing your skills and real world experiences and building your professional network. So MPH students typically complete 1 3-credit, 360-hour practicum during the summer between their first and second year. So we have a dedicated Office of Field Education guide you as you select a fieldwork site that aligns with your career goals and interests. Dedicate your time in a place that will help you develop a skill set to set you apart in the job application process, learning job search skills, and so on. So that you can see in this slide, this is our current field education team. In addition to the field education office, we also offer Foundations of Field course in the first semester to help you better navigate the entire process, from determining your fieldwork goals to designating sites to serving as a soundboarding for questions that come up during your practicum process. At the Brown School, students have the unique opportunity to select their own practicum sites, which means that we do not assign students to specific practica. Students are responsible for selecting their own practicum experience, and this self-directed process offers tremendous options and flexibility to our students. Next slide. Our students complete practica locally, nationally, and globally. Currently, we have over 400 local, national, and global active practicum sites, and we work closely with them to help students gain meaningful professional experience. In recent years, as you can see in this slide, MPH students have complete practicum in the following agencies, and here are just some of the many samples for your reference. We have 6 different specializations, and then each specialization student will usually have their own interests. And for example, many students are EpiBio specialization, and they may go to some like government departments like Center for Disease Control and Prevention. And here again are just some of the samples from our past experience, from past students. And now I'm going to pass it back to Makia to talk about our student-centered approach and how we provide the best support and services for our students to be successful.
Thanks, Zizi. So as a Brown School student, you will have a network of support throughout the school. So you'll have academic advisors, faculty members, and field education there to support you. Academic advisors will assist you with your curriculum and making sure that you're registered for the right classes. They also have drop-in hours, so you can visit them throughout each semester, throughout the year, to just make sure that you are confident about all your courses and making sure that you are graduating on time. Faculty members, they will connect with you inside the classroom and outside the classroom. They will also serve as mentors to you throughout your Brown School experience. And then we have the field education, the Office of Field Education will support you with anything to do with practicum. Just like Zizi mentioned, they will help you identify goals for your practicum, apply to your practicum. And of course, they also provide drop-in hours to make sure that you are finding the best practicum for you. We also have faculty and research opportunities at the Brown School. So faculty here are amazing. They are going to be a top resource to you. They are renowned scholars who serve as mentors and advisors. You get to be paired with faculty advisors who align with your concentration or specialization. They're also connectors to leading practitioners around the world. As you can see, they are the top 2% of world scientists. So a lot of the research that you might be reading, you're most likely going to see your faculty member names in those research papers. And then we do have a 8-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So like I said, they will work with you inside the classroom, but out, you'll develop great relationships with your faculty members. In addition to our faculty, we do have research opportunities. So WashU is a premier research institution, and the Brown School contributes to that in many ways. We have about 20 research centers, 3 community-based initiatives, and they all offer opportunities for students to be involved. We have about 180 paid student research positions at the Brown School. We also have other research opportunities for students to get involved. So if you would like, you can become a part of independent study with faculty, have a research-oriented practicum. You can also co-present at conferences and co-author on papers with faculty. And then you can also pursue part-time research-focused jobs. And then speaking of jobs, the Center for Career Engagement is a dedicated partner at WashU who will help Brown School students and alumni. So as you can see, it's a long list of great resources that they provide. So they do resume review sessions, one-on-one advising, mock interviews, career fairs, and lots of other different workshops that will benefit you throughout your time at the Brown School, but also after. So one unique thing about the Center for Career Engagement is they are going to work with you throughout your career. So as a Brown School student, but also as you graduate, you can go off and be in your career for 5 years, 10 years, and you can still come back to the office, to the center, and they will assist you with anything you need. So if you need a little help with your interviews or one-on-one advising, they will be there to assist you. And then additionally, as Zizi mentioned, we do have a student-centered approach. And so here is just a list of all of our offices at the Brown School that provide support and resources to our students. So one thing I love is we do have an in-house library for Brown School students. So it's a library dedicated to our Brown School students. You can go up there and study, but they also have a lot of resources for you. We also have professional development programs. We have the Communication Lab and Writing Center that will help you with your papers and presentations. And then we have a bunch more. So if you want to learn more about these different offices, you can always reach out to our office and we can try our best to give you more information or even connect you with them. And now I am going to pass this over to Zizi to talk more about funding your degree.
Thanks, Makia. So financial consideration is a huge component for the application. First of all, let's take a look at the tuition and fee totals for Master of Public Health program this academic year. Please note that these are our tuition prices for the total year. So the tuition per semester will be the total amount divided by 2. Beside the tuition cost, you may be wondering about the cost of attendance in general. After this portion, I will post a link of the cost of attendance at the Brown School, so for your future reference. Next slide, please. And we do recognize that funding a graduate degree can be a huge, significant investment, whether here at the Brown School or elsewhere. We did receive many questions regarding the funding opportunities before the session, and I'm hoping the following information can be helpful for you. Brown School students typically fund their degrees through a combination of sources, including scholarship, part-time employment, and so on. We are thrilled to offer partial scholarship, and we encourage students to look for external funding opportunities as you consider our program. If you wish to be considered for scholarship support from the Brown School, please indicate this on your program application, and you will be asked to submit an additional scholarship consideration form within the application materials section of the application. We will use this together with your full application to determine your award. This form would ask you to share details about your unique financial situation. I'm proud to say that 100% of our students who request scholarship support will receive an award. Requesting funding aids does not impact your admissibility. Other funding sources, including scholarship from external organizations, federal work study, federal student loans, and part-time employment. We do want to know that many students do work part-time here at the Brown School, whether on or off campus. Like we say, we do provide some support to help you to navigate the part-time opportunities during your study here. On campus, there are some sample campus positions, including research assistant positions. For example, you can work with faculty or you can work with some of our research centers. There are also some administrative assistant opportunities, such as student ambassadors positions at the admissions office here at the Brown School. For international students, students are allowed to work on campus. And now I'm going to pass it back to Makia.
All right, everyone. So mark your calendars because these are our deadlines, and one of them is coming up pretty soon. So that's the December 1st deadline, and that's our first official early action deadline. And then our second deadline is the March 1st, which is what we consider our regular decision deadline. And then after March 1st, we go into rolling admission. And so we'll continue to accept applications until July 1st. However, for the MPH program, please keep in mind that since the MPH application is completed through SOFAs, which is a centralized platform for all MPH applications, it may take time to process. So if you are looking to submit your application by December 1st or March 1st, please keep in mind that SOFAs takes time to process. So try your best to apply as early as you can if you're trying to meet a certain deadline. And of course, if you want to talk more about the deadlines and timelines, please reach out to our office and we'll work with you one-on-one to figure out when's the best time for you to submit in order to meet a specific deadline. And then for the upcoming virtual info sessions, so in addition to today's info session, we do have a few coming up. So the next one is going to be the tips for submitting a strong application, and that's going to be on October 18th. And then for students who are interested in the PhD in Public Health Sciences program, they actually have an info session coming up as well next month on October 25th. And then we also have an international student experience at the Brown School info session on November 1st. And then we have an Ask Us Anything session on November 15th. That's a great session for anyone who has last minute questions before submitting for their December 1st deadline. And then if you are interested in learning more about the Brown School, please connect with us. We have several different ways to connect with us. So you can schedule a virtual visit or an in-person visit. We have in-person visits on Friday. You can also connect with the admissions team. So if you want to meet with us one-on-one, we provide Zoom meetings to talk with you about any to really answer your questions or address any concerns that you have. You can also talk to a current student. So if you want to learn more about their experiences at the Brown School, you can do that through our virtual visits as well. And then, of course, our website has amazing resources and lots of information. So please have a look at our website. And if you have any questions, you can send us an email at brownadmissions@wusel.edu. And then this info session is recorded, so we will be posting it on our YouTube page. So if you want to refer back to it, it'll be on our YouTube channel, which is WUSTL Brown School. And then, as you can see, there's a QR code on the screen as well. So please scan this QR code to connect with us and to receive updates from the admissions office. So just going to leave a few seconds for everyone to scan it real quick. And if you would like to scan it after I change the slide, just let me know in the chat box. And then now we are going to move on to our questions. So we did have a lot of pre-submitted questions, and so we'll try to answer those as quickly as possible so we can address all of our live questions. I see that there's a lot of Q&A action going on, so I definitely want to address those as quickly as possible. So me and Zizi are going to work together to answer all the submitted questions. So let's see. Our first pre-submitted question was, how do I apply and what are the application procedures? So like I mentioned, we do have an info session coming up next month that will talk more specifics about application materials and requirements. But just to let everyone know, the MPH application, all the materials have to be submitted through SOFAs. Again, it's a centralized application portal for public health schools and programs. So definitely check out their website. I'm going to put the link to SOFAs in the chat box soon, but definitely have a look at their guidelines and how to create an application. You can also find application instructions for the MPH program on our website as well. And then Zizi, I think Zizi will answer the next question. So these are some pre-submitted questions. We'll try to work through them real quick.
Yeah, thanks, Makia. Just one really quick note. I just sent a like a cost of attendance link in the chat to answer the previous questions regarding funding your degree. And please note that this is kind of like the estimated maximum funding you need to prepare, especially for international students. But please note that some of the costs may not apply to you. For example, I know that not everyone here is pursuing a Master of Social Work license. So please just take a look at each of the components and see how much it would actually cost you for funding this degree. The next question I'm going to answer is about the application waiver. So we did have a question about how can my application fee be waived? So we, like Makia mentioned earlier, MPH program applicants do have to submit their applications through SOFA's system. So we encourage each applicant to review the SOFA's fee assistance program to determine your eligibility for a financial or services-based fee waiver. And I will share the link soon. And if you're a current WashU student, for example, if you are a Brown School student, either MSW or MSP, looking for adding a MPH program, you are eligible for our full application waiver. But for some of the other programs, please just reach out to our office to request a coupon code. And whether you will get like a partial or full application fee waiver, it depends on your program. So please feel free to reach out, ask for more information. And I'm gonna answer the next questions regarding the scholarship opportunities. Like I mentioned earlier, is that Brown School do offer a lot of scholarship opportunities for both international students or students who are from the US. We offer scholarship to each admitted student who would like to be considered for scholarship award. So this is really important because you need to indicate you want a scholarship request when you, in your application. And this award are partial tuition scholarships that range in amount. We base award amounts on a few factors. For example, the strength of your overall application, your eligibility for specific cohort-based funding, or the availability of funding at the time of your admission. So here are all the factors, and we encourage you to present as much as you needed in your application so that we could have a better reference. And I'm going to pass it back to Makia to answer the next question.
Yeah, so the next question that was pre-submitted was, when given admission, do you have to make an initial deposit before sending I-20 forms for visa processing? So all admitted students have to confirm their intent to enroll by submitting a $200 tuition deposit. And then for our international students who have been admitted also have to submit the Washington University Affidavit of Financial Support in order for them to confirm their intent to enroll. So if you do have questions about that specifically, please reach out to our office and we'll work with you one-on-one on which forms that you have to provide and which forms we accept. Yeah.
I'll take it. So the next question is about a student who already submit their application and they want to know when they will receive the feedback on admission status. So for all the applicants who complete their application by early decision priority deadline, which is December 1st this year, student will receive their admission and scholarship decisions beginning in January and no later than February 1st. For applicants who complete their application by March 1st, priority deadline, will receive the priority decisions and scholarship decisions within 6 to 8 weeks. And for students who complete the application after the priority deadline, student will typically expect decisions and admissions and scholarship decisions within 4 to 6 weeks. Decisions are made based on availability, and our final application deadline is July 1st, 2024 for the fall 2024 cohort.
All right, I'll answer the next few questions. So is the MPH program STEM designated? So this is something I mentioned in our info session slide. So yes, all 6 specialization areas are STEM certified. And then my next question that we have is, when is the application deadline? So again, we have 3 different deadlines. The first one is December 1st. The second one is March 1st. And then after March 1st, we go into rolling admissions and we'll continue to accept applications until July 1st. I definitely want to emphasize the importance of applying early, especially for our international students, just so we can get things processed for you quickly, because we want to see you join us. And I definitely want everyone to, join us in the next semester. So apply early, just so you can secure your spot.
Sorry, Makia. Addition note to Makia's points regarding like the international students plan for applying our program is that, so after you successfully, sorry, I keep talking, but after you successfully submit your application and receive our admission and scholarship offers, there are a lot of process to make sure that you successfully get your visa and, you secure your flight and housing, and a lot of important steps to be here at a Brown School. So we encourage international applicants to apply as early as possible so that you could follow our structure to complete the important steps. And that's just an additional note. And the next question, the next question is about the potential advisor. So the question is, if it's necessary to secure a potential advisor before being admitted into the program. So we want to share that once you are admitted to our program, you will be assigned with a designated academic advisor who will assist you with your course sequencing and make sure that you are fulfilling all your requirements for a timely graduation. And in addition to an academic advisor, you will also have a faculty advisor as well as a field faculty to help you with other components.
I'll go ahead and answer our last few pre-submitted questions so we can get to the live questions. So we did have one question asking if we have part-time, accelerated, or online options for the MPH program. So currently the MPH program is just a 2-year in-person program. So you do have to be here in person in order to complete the PhD program. And then the next question that we had was, what are the dual degree admission requirements? So as a dual, if you want to be a dual degree student, you'll have to apply to each program separately. So if you're interested in the MPH and MSW, those are 2 separate applications that you have to submit in order to be enrolled as a dual degree. So if you're admitted to both, then you'll be an MPH and MSW dual degree student. Again, this also applies to other dual programs. So if you're interested in becoming an MPH and business dual student, then the MBA program, you will have to apply to both programs. So the MBA and the MPH separately. Again, if you're curious to learn more about dual degree programs, please reach out to us and we can talk more one-on-one on how to apply. And then the last question that we had was, what is the GPA requirement for the MPH program? So our session next month is going to dive deeper into all the requirements and materials for applying to the MPH program. But just to quickly answer it, we prefer a 3.0 GPA, but there is no specific requirement. And now we are going to have a look at the live questions. So I see that Ria asked, so the Brown School is not accredited school of public health right now. No, we are accredited, but we are technically the Brown School, and the Brown School has an MPH program, but we're hoping in 2026 or 2024 to 2026 to launch a school of public health, which will also be accredited. So it's accredited now, it just has a different school, but soon the public health program will transition under the School of Public Health. The next question by Rebecca, are there specific course requirements someone must have from undergrad to be eligible to apply? So for the MPH program, we do have a human biology prerequisite requirement. So if you don't have a human biology course or equivalent courses, we do ask that you complete that fulfillment by the time you are admitted into the program. So if you don't have that course, that's okay. You can still apply. We'll just make sure that you're enrolled in a course and complete that course by your first year at the Brown School.
Matia, can I add a really quick point?
Yes,
so we do have some current Brown School students, their backgrounds are not public health related. They do successfully get into our program. And what we usually advise students is that we do have some like online options that will allow students to take the online course in their own free time. And then once they finish the course and pass the course and get the certificate, and then you can just submit that to our program manager to make sure that you meet that requirement. And yes, we did have students who did not have the related background, but they can still apply for our program.
Yeah, that's a very great point. Thanks for mentioning that, Zizi. Okay, so let's see the next question. I see for the MPH MSP dual degree program, are we limited to the generalist track for our specialization, or can we choose from the other specializations? Zizi, do you want to answer that one, or?
Yeah, I can partially answer this question. Okay. So usually for like dual degree students like MPH MSP or MPH MSW, we strongly recommend the student to choose generalist track because we only have certain like credit cap, the credit numbers that you can take, and you want to make sure that you successfully fulfill the requirements for both programs. I didn't know the like the MPH MSP case in the past, but we did have like few students who would be able to choose a specialization on public health side for like dual MPH MSW student. So again, if you have that special request, I will encourage you, once you admit, reach out to your academic advisor and also the program associate dean or other like people who can help you to make sure that you fulfill the graduation requirement, but also make sure the courses or specialization you choose could also fulfill your personal goals. So please talk to us if you have further questions, and hopefully this brief answer is helpful.
Yes, I'm gonna actually take it back to this page over here. So again, we have virtual visits and in-person visits, but I definitely recommend visiting us one way or another, just so we can answer your questions one-on-one, and talk more about your goals and how the program fits your goals. So the next question that I see, what is the application process and admission requirements for the MPH and MSP? So we kind of talked about this in a variety of different ways, but again, for dual degree programs, you have to apply to programs separately. And then when it comes to the admission requirements, we're going to talk more about this next month on October 15th for our tips on creating your strongest application. So please make sure to sign up for that the same way you signed up for this session. And we also have information on our website. And again, please reach out to us. We love and enjoy meeting students through email or through Zoom visits. Next question that I see. Can you tell us, or please talk about potential applicants who do not have public health, medical, clinical background? So Zizi actually answered this question. So we do have a lot of students who don't have a public health background or a medical background or clinical background. So we actually have something called a holistic review process. So we really take into consideration everything that you provide to us in your materials. So you don't necessarily have to have any of these specific backgrounds and when it comes to your resume. We just want to see everything you've done. So all of your experiences from your first year of undergrad as a freshman up until today. We want to see all types of experiences that you've had, because we want to see the skills that you may bring to the table. And then we also, have a look at your recommendation letters, your personal statement and whatnot. But we'll talk more about this in the info session next month as well. So please sign up for that to learn more. Can you please, the next question, can you please tell us about the requirements to apply for the need-based scholarship? So we have a scholarship consideration form that is part of the application. So we recommend that you fill out both pages that will assess you for merit-based and need-based. So even if you don't think you are eligible for need-based, please fill it out, because we will assess you as much as we can, and we'll try our best to provide a scholarship that best fits your overall merit-based and need-based. Okay. So let's see, next question. So hopefully I'm not skipping any. So what is regarded as work experience? I feel like we might have answered this a little already. So Zizi, do you want to answer this or provide more notes?
I would say this is just my personal views, is that we really want to see some relate experiences you have. It can be, maybe some student research projects you have when you were students. It can be your voluntary experiences. You can be your internship or your full-time professional experiences. So I'm hoping that this is helpful, but we want to see you present as much related experiences as possible, so that we could see you holistically and then consider every component when we are reviewing your application. So I don't know, Makia, do you have any?
No, I think you covered it. So if you were a research assistant for any type of lab in your undergrad, or you volunteered for different community initiatives or nonprofits, honestly, anything that you've been involved in that could potentially relate, definitely include it. We just want to see everything that you've done and the types of experiences that you've had and the types of experience and skills that you've gained. So that's kind of what we regard as work experience, even if you don't have professional work experience, because we know a lot of students come straight out of undergrad. We still look at your undergrad experience and work experience as work experience. So hopefully we answered that question. And now we're going to move on to the next few questions. Is priority early action binding? So no, it's not binding. So what the early action priority deadline does is it allows you to receive an early decision. So if you are looking at several different programs and you really want to find out which program you really want to find out if you got accepted earlier on or not to help with that decision, I definitely recommend applying December 1st. So December 1st, we guarantee a decision no later than February 1st. So that's kind of how the early action deadline works. It's just a guaranteed decision by that date. Okay, so the next question, are there opportunities to study or work abroad? And I think Zizi.
Yeah, happy to jump in. So yes, we do have a lot of global opportunities in terms of global courses or global like internship or practicum. And we also do have a lot of global alum who are working elsewhere after graduation. For example, global courses, which is coming very soon in spring 2024. Next year, we will have like 3 offerings in Germany, Colombia, and Brazil. And all these courses are partially subsidized. So student could pay, a fairly affordable amount of money to travel to those countries. And during this period, you will be able to, get to know like the faculty's research in their local, with local like agencies or departments, and you will be able to take the course with your cohort in another place, usually in like 1 or 2 weeks period. So, and also you can earn the credit, which is also really, really amazing. In addition to the global courses, we also have like a global practicum opportunities. GPO Global Programs Office has worked closely with our field education office and also a lot of global practicum sites. In the past summer, we did have students successfully finish their practicum in African countries, also like Asian countries and maybe South American countries. So connect with us if you want to learn more about global opportunities. Last but not least, we do have a really extensive alum network all around the country and all around the world. So some students in the past did successfully find a job after graduation due to our connection with alumni. So yeah, again, connect with me or at admissions office. You want to learn more about global opportunities.
Thanks, Zizi. All right, so we do have a few more questions to go through. So I see here we have a question from Samuel. I was kindly wondering about the maximum amount of scholarships that an MPH applicant can secure. I recently read on the university's webpage that there are some full tuition scholarships available every year, so I was kindly wondering if that is possible. So to be very honest, the majority of our MPH Brown School scholarships are going to be partial tuition scholarships. So that's something to keep in mind. There might be university-wide scholarships out there that are separate from our Brown School scholarships that provide full tuition, but our Brown School named scholarships are going to be mostly partial tuition scholarships. The next question, is there any difference between early decision and priority deadline regarding the scholarship amount? So the early decision and priority decision is the same decision deadline, so that's December 1st. However, as Zizi mentioned, in addition to how we evaluate scholarships, so we evaluate based on merit-based, need-based, but also based on the availability of scholarships that we have by the time you apply. So I definitely want to emphasize applying early is better than applying late. So if you apply, for example, by December 1st or March 1st versus later on, such as in June and July, it does affect your chances because the availability of scholarships do deplete later on in the cycle. So try your best to apply as early as you can for just to boost that opportunity of scholarship. All right, next question. So is the GRE required and do we need work experience for the program? So the work experience portion, we already talked about that. The GRE is not required and it is no longer required. The next question.
I can take this.
Yeah, okay, great.
So is it possible to make your schedule to have many evening courses and for students who are still working while enrolled? I would say typically we do have a lot of flexible courses options during the daytime, evening courses, and some weekend courses. And the good news is that now we also open up the summer semester to provide more course options for students who want to take courses in summer. So we can't guarantee that you make all your schedule in the evening, but we do want to say that we have a lot of options that you could choose from, and then definitely work closely with your academic advisor if you have other duties outside of the course, and we will try to make sure that the schedule, the class schedule will work better with your work schedule and family schedule. Next question. I'm gonna pass it to Makia to talk about.
Okay, so as the MPH program is moved from the Brown School to its own School of Social Work or School of Public Health, what sort of changes can MPH students who start in fall 2024 expect in terms of logistics, resources, planning? So for our fall 2024 cohort, they're still going to be under the Brown School, so there's not going to be any changes to expect. However, for students who are coming in the following year, or for students who are going to be graduating potentially in May 2026 or later, they can expect to be graduating with the School of Public Health. But in terms of resources, courses, curriculum structure, we are not anticipating any major changes. It's just a matter of the school name change. And yeah, okay, so the next question, how did the admission for international students at your university look like? Zizi, would you like to answer this one?
So Abraham, if you have, more specific, questions about these questions, you're welcome to give us some context and explanation. But I would say the admission for the international student are pretty similar. So we, for all international students, you have to go through the same application process, but there are some additional requirements that are a little bit different from domestic students. For example, international students typically have to provide the English proficiency, proof to show that you can meet the English requirement. You also need to provide the transcript that is at least in English or bilingual, so that it's readable and also official. And also international student, after you get admitted, decided to be enrolled in our program, you also have to provide the material to show that you have financial support for your degree program. So again, the application process is fairly similar, but we do require some additional materials from you. And if you have particular questions, and feel free to connect with me. I'm happy to walk through the requirement with you, and I will post my contact information in a chat very soon.
Okay, so we have two more questions left. So the first one is, how can we access the forms to apply for the merit-based and need-based scholarship? So thank you so much. You're welcome. I'm glad we are very helpful. So the merit-based and need-based scholarship, so that is what we call our scholarship consideration form. And so after you apply and submit your application through SOFAS, you will receive an email from our office, the Brown School Office of Admissions Recruitment. to set up a Washington University graduate portal. So you will be prompted to create a portal in order to submit the scholarship consideration form, as well as the video interview, which is also part of our requirements. So again, next month, we will have a session that talks more detailed about all the different requirements in the application processes. So please feel free to register for that on our website, and to also reach out to us to talk more about the materials and requirements. So yeah, let's see. The last question that we have, does the program have to be completed in 2 years, or can students enroll for part-time? So we currently do not have a part-time program for the MPH program. So the MPH program has to be completed in 2 years. And so, yeah, that's my answer for you. So it's a 2-year program. You'll have about 4 semesters in total. And most students are successful in completing the program in 2 years. All right, so that was the last question in the Q&A box. Does anyone else have questions for us while we're here? We have about 5 minutes left of today's session, so hopefully we answer the majority of everyone's questions. But if you have a last-minute question, please feel free to let us know.
Yeah. We do have a question regarding the research assistant employment offer. Okay, I'm going to read the question.
Okay.
Is the research assistant employment offer capable of financing the remaining part of the tuition after the scholarship? And in case it is not enough, how can you go about it? So this is a question about the part-time opportunities, and also how much it can cover the program cost.
Yeah, so for our master's level students, we have part-time research assistant positions that are paid, that are hourly paid positions. Any type of research assistant employment that offers tuition remission is reserved for our PhD applicants. So that's something to keep in mind. But we do have a lot of research assistant positions available. They're just going to be hourly paid positions.
In addition to that, oh, sorry, Makia.
No, you go.
This is just like some additional note for international students who want to work in a campus. So for international student, you are allowed to work up to 20 hours during the spring and fall semester. And during the summer and winter semester, you can work up to 40 hours. And here at the Brown School, typically our hourly rate is $15.25 per hour, so $15.25 per hours. And for each individuals, you really have to like evaluate your personal cost to decide it, how much this could cover, because each person's cost of living could range differently, and hopefully this is helpful.
Okay, so I see that Shayna, my colleague who is in this session today, I want to highlight the message she put in the chat box. Thank you all for such great questions, and please don't hesitate to reach out to our office so we can answer more of your questions or talk through them and discuss your specific situation. So please feel free to reach out to us. Our email is brownadmissions@wustl.edu. Please, seriously, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are here to help you. We are here to assist with this process. And I actually see that we have another question in the Q&A. We still have time, so I would like to answer this. The Brown School has piloted a part-time MSW. Do you anticipate a part-time MPH joining the part-time curriculum after the PH program moves to its own school? So this is a great question. Unfortunately, I don't have the answer to that because the School of Public Health is still in the process of being launched. Like I said in the introduction, we still need to submit for approval and for accreditation to move to the School of Public Health. So once the School of Public Health becomes an official school, then hopefully we would be able to answer that question for you in the chat box. All right.
There's one last question about double major. So usually for MPH students, you can choose one specialization, but if you are kind of like undecided about, how you're gonna do your specialization, we also have a generalist, which is very similar to individualized specialization. So you can pull like, for example, courses from epidemiology, biostatistics, or like the policy, health policy, so that you can create your own specialization. And we also want to highlight that we have a lot of like dual programs. For example, MSP, MPH, MSW, MPH. And hopefully this is helpful. And then we are right at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, so thank you, Zizi, for answering that question. And I just wanted to say again, thank you all so much for joining us in today's info session. You can find the recording of this on our YouTube page. And again, please feel free to reach out to us to answer any questions. We are here to help. And I just want to say thank you so much to my co-host, Zizi, for being a part of the session as well. And I hope everyone gets to enjoy the rest of their day or rest of their night.
Bye, everyone.